I am really delayed.
Fuddy Bloody Friday.
Bloody Friday? Is it like a holiday?
No, isn't it? What was it? Something Bloody Monday or something?
Yeah,
Sunday,
that's not a
Bloody
Friday.
Sunday? Yeah, no, I changed it. I made it up. Anyways, welcome to another episode of Go Fud Yourself. And today is, as always, every week, FU Friday. So we're going to say FU to a few things. We're going to report some news that we love and report on some things that we don't love. And that's what's going to happen. Quick shout out to Ambire, one of my favorite shirts ever. Self-help /
Ever?
I'm a big fan of their merch. They've got another one that talks about SPF, which is really funny. It says SPF owes you money. I'll wear it next week.
I saw that one. I like that one.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. So shout out to Ambire. Kara, how you doing?
I'm amazing. For some reason, I'm really delayed on this video stream, but I promise that I'm not really delayed in real life.
Hey, yeah, you are a little delayed. I wonder in the final video if that's going to render like.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Also,
so today,
just wait before you go there. Look at the neon. Look at
I know,
lights.
I love it. I'm really jealous. I'm gonna have to get some lights and like look all noir.
Yeah, well,
all brooding.
If I get in trouble, if anybody sees the cop cars outside, oh man. Okay, too funny.
Terrible.
I have too much fun. Too much fun.
Oh,
all right.
Awful.
So, what are we talking about today?
Well, first of all, we're going to talk about Twitter and eToro, and then we're going to talk about that, about Jack Dorsey and Web5. Fuck you. And then, whatever, we got a couple op-ed pieces about crypto adoption and stablecoins and how much stablecoins are spending on lobbying. But, like, that's not a surprise, so I'm not sure why it's in the news. And then, for once in my life, Canada is being praised for their crypto approach. I think that's false, but that's fine. And then we have UK lawmakers. I tried to avoid this all week because it was conjecture, but they've been talking about making crypto gambling in regulation. And I guess this is actually going forward. So we're going to talk about that. Yeah. That's it. That's what we got.
I'm not a fan, but we're going to say FU to all those people.
All of it.
On the episode. All right, let's do it. All right, welcome back. And we've even got the Twitter spaces up and running today. So let's go. Oh, I got to turn you down. Holy moly, you're loud.
Hello.
There we go.
Is better?
Am I clicking? Yeah, now we're good. Now we're set. All right. So where do you want to start? What are we going to start with? Are we going to talk about Twitter?
We're just going to straight up start with Twitter.
Yeah.
And eToro.
Yeah, so this was announced a little while ago. I think it's kind of interesting. I think Elon is really kind of leaning into the digital payments thing a little bit. And eToro, I haven't really heard much about eToro since like 2017. They were like a big player in 2017, 2018. And then they kind of like didn't really do much, at least that I was aware of. And then this is kind of interesting, trying to figure out how to add. So this is, I'm not sure if I feel FUE to this one. I think this is just something that I actually kind of like personally.
I kind of dig it, but the reason that I thought it was FU news is it's actually sort of old news. Like, I think they've done a really good PR stint at BTC, at Bitcoin Miami, but eToro has had cash tags on Twitter since, what, like 2012? No, I'm kidding, since 2022. So it's not brand new news.
No, it's definitely not brand new news, but I think it definitely is interesting. We're kind of seeing a CeFi platform in eToro. That is partnering with a massive, obviously, social media platform to bring many types of transactions, but mainly cryptocurrencies and stocks to the Twitter platform itself. Now, what's interesting, where I find this interesting is Elon has alluded to quite a few times that. Did you know that you're not on Twitter Spaces anymore? Should make sure.
Oh yeah, I am, because I'm Blockchain Labs.
Oh, you're the host today.
Yeah,
okay.
And so I tried to have it on my computer, but there was a huge delay, like over 40 seconds, and it was not funny.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just pretend that didn't happen then.
Yeah, I'm here.
but anyways, this is interesting because he's talked about the everything app, right? The X, like the parent corp of Twitter is now X Corp, which is kind of interesting. And this is a big piece. Like his whole thing is he wants to create human connectivity, but create a platform that kind of supersedes all platforms for interpersonal transactions and communication and, you know, growing your network and marketing and advertising and all these other things. So this, I think, is pretty interesting. It should be interesting to see also how, because it'll be inextricably connected with Twitter, which is essentially where the vast majority of public conversation happens around these asset classes. It'll be interesting to see if and how they incorporate social sentiment and different things into maybe indicators, or if they're going to create some sort of dashboards that you can build. It'll be interesting to see how the tech that eToro has combined with the data that Twitter has, and potentially maybe some AI at some point, to really come up with unique and interesting strategies. But
I have to ask, did you see them at Bitcoin Miami? Like, was there a big show about this or anything like that?
No. So to be quite frank, I haven't been actually in.
Okay.
Yeah. So, which is usually my move. I've had way too many meetings that I'm like late for everything this week, which is really fun. But yeah, no, it's there's a lot of people in town. I was surprised. Like there's a lot of big name brands are here, many more than last year, which is surprising.
Cool.
At least the ones that I talk to on a regular basis. So it's pretty cool. We'll see. I'm going to.
We can say FU recession. Is that what that means?
No.
The other thing I wanted to ask about this Twitter eToro business. Do you remember when Telegram had a bunch of news about introducing tokens and being able to send money? Does anybody use that?
I have no idea. I don't even know if it exists in America yet. I haven't.
Okay.
I can even access it.
I was just thinking that this is, I don't know, Twitter will have a faster adoption, I think, than Telegram with the hashtags already being used. And I wouldn't be surprised if the next step is crypto payments via Twitter. So
absolutely. I think that's going to be the next like meaningful step. But if they can facilitate something similar to like Apple Pay with crypto, that would be, I mean, Elon's more or less alluded to that, something similar, or PayPal or whatever. P2P transactions and even a point of sale type of thing. That could be really compelling and would lead to a much larger user onboarding wave, I think, for Twitter, which would be really cool. Telegram, like originally, Telegram raised like $3 or $4 billion, then got sued by the SEC for doing a unregistered security sale, had to give all the money back. But this was always part of Telegram's plans, was like to be the communication infrastructure and eventually have all of it on chain and be encrypted and all of this really interesting stuff that everybody was all excited about. And then with all the SEC problems, it just kind of remained simply as a chat platform, really. But now it's nice to see that they're trying to innovate. Again, I remember hearing that on Telegram, but I maybe it's because I live in America. But
speaking of innovation, Web 5. We're gonna skip Web 4. Fuck you, Web 4. We're just going to launch right over it, and we're all going to escape Twitter and go to the Jack Dorsey Web 5 platform. Are you ready?
I am ready. Hey, just a quick shout out. Our friend BCP, Blockchain Padawan, is listening on Twitter. Hey, brother, what's going on? Good friend. He's one of the core team members at Probably Nothing, which is an amazing platform. So any of you that want to check it out, go do so. Okay. So Jack Dorsey, the original tweeter, has been for a long time has been a big advocate of Web3, generally speaking, or of crypto and what it should bring to society. And then he got wound up in the whole censorship nonsense and eventually left Twitter, which I think was probably. Go ahead.
It's easy to get wound up in that when you're trying to run a platform.
Oh hell yeah!
Right? I think that we have a lot of FUD about Jack Dorsey because people are so bullish on Elon. And I'm not saying that Dorsey did everything right or that I agree with all of his decisions, but I can understand the motivation that he's had.
Yeah, that's it's almost an impossible situation. Like it was a massive company. It was being very poorly run. Jack was not the CEO, obviously, anymore at the end, and he was involved tangentially, but He also built Square, which is like, very interesting, and really revolutionized payments in a lot of ways, point of sale at small businesses. And it took a big chunk out of the incumbents. And I think he's long been an advocate for cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to enable the next wave of innovation. The reason that we're saying F you to Jack Dorsey today is he's claiming Web 5, which I think is like just fucking ridiculous. Pardon my French, but
I think it's supposed to be like a fun, clever, attention-grabbing name. Like, I doubt that he believes it's Web 5 because it's literally just Web 3.
Maybe he could make an argument that it's like Web 3.5 or some nonsense.
I think it's just a clever name, and it's not that clever. So F you, Jack Dorsey. Hire a marketing person. I don't know.
Just a marketing tactic. Hey, to their credit, we're fucking talking about it.
We're talking about it.
Exactly.
All right. So we've got Twitter and we've got Web 5. So on the one hand, I think that we're looking at large-scale user adoption in terms of crypto because of Twitter, right? Because now it's suddenly so accessible, it's going to be so visible, it's going to be so easy, or everyone's going to offload and go to Web 5. So I don't know what to say about that. But we talk about this all the time. The big op-ed of the week is that crypto adoption is thriving everywhere but America and Europe. Is this going to change with the Twitter cash tags? I don't think so.
I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I think this is, it depends how Twitter can navigate. The vast majority of Twitter users are American or North American, English speaking, I suppose. I shouldn't.
A lot of Turkish on there.
I mean, there's a lot of people from all over the world on Twitter, of course, but there's a lot of concentration in America and Canada and other Western countries. So the reason I bring that up is because I think it'll be very interesting to see how they navigate the regulatory environment. This will make a big dent in user adoption, I think, in North America and other Western countries if they can thread the regulatory needle, which at this moment, who freaking knows if they're going to be able to do it. If everything shakes out the way that we've been expecting it to and talking about for the last 65 episodes, then I think it's going to be very difficult for them to manage all of those things from a regulatory perspective. But then again, if anybody's got the resources, the relationships, and the wherewithal to do it, I think it's going to be Twitter. Now, why is crypto adoption thriving in emerging markets? I think there's a greater personal motivation to consider alternate asset classes when your currency is not your own national currency, and or if it is, it's being inflated to oblivion and all these other problems. That's one reason, I think. And I think, sovereignty and corruption and all of these things in all of these emerging markets has been long a problem. And now there's a solution that helps protect slightly against that. And a lot of these smaller emerging markets are welcoming a blockchain and crypto as an emerging technology and saying, hey, come here, come build here. We'll have tax breaks in some places, and we'll have, we'll try to make friendly regulations and so on.
Right.
Again, the U.S. and Europe is
counter that.
The U.S. and Europe is doing the opposite. Like it's
look at what the UK is doing.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
I do appreciate that MiCA exists. I do appreciate that the UK is trying to regulate. I will take any clarity from anyone at any time because that's what we need. But really? Gambling?
Yeah, I think there's probably a more tactful way to do this. So we're saying F you to lawmakers right now because no one is going to get on board from industry if you call the industry gambling, because to all of us that are building, the gambling aspect of crypto is completely unrelated to what we're all trying to achieve here. And that is creating meaningful technology, at least from our perspective, creating meaningful technology that enables a greater access to financial products globally, with lower barriers to entry, a lot less overhead, a lot less fees, a lot more transparency. That's what we're trying to do. But if you classify something as gambling, uno momento, if you classify something as gambling, the negative connotation with that supersedes everything else. And so nobody's going to sign on to this. This is like the worst possible characterization.
Okay, I know that we're here to say F you to this, but I've had a revelation.
Nope, still saying
we need to cross the chasm, right? That's what everybody talks about in terms of technology adoption. We should go from our early adopters to the next group. If we're going to cross the chasm, we need a very niche market, and maybe that niche market is gambling addicts. Maybe the UK is just trying to help us with crypto adoption.
So to a certain extent, yeah, but you need to achieve.
Oh my God, you're seeing no fun today.
I like that you're looking for a silver lining. I respect that. But that being said, I think to achieve network effects in crypto, I think like we invariably have to appeal to a much broader swath of society. And I mean, gambling addicts are gambling addicts are gambling addicts, but that's just, I mean, people don't.
I don't actually want to make light of addiction, but if it's classified as gambling, people who do gamble, whether, hopefully not addicts, but people who do gamble for fun and go to the casino, maybe this can change how they interact with cryptocurrency. So maybe it no longer is like, ooh, technology, the blockchain, Web3, Web5, what's going on? Maybe they're like, oh yeah, I know how VLTs work. I absolutely am going to go to the Bitcoin ATM that is going to act as a VLT. Maybe there's something here that we should think about.
Philosophically, I'm like entirely opposed to this because I think it's completely against everything.
Me too, but I'm trying.
I know, but at the same time, I mean, there is you can't ignore the component of crypto users currently, which I think are probably more likely the gambling inclined, that are playing with all these shit coins and all this other nonsense that they don't really understand, but they're throwing money in fairly large chunks at these things, at NFTs, all this other stuff. So, I mean, again, I think we've probably got a lot of those gambling.
Maybe our DeFi dashboard should have poker on it. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
So the UK is going in one direction that's very controversial. Canada went in a different direction where everything's a security, and we've known that for a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting about this is that it's still more appealing to large organizations like Coinbase, apparently not organizations like Binance, but large organizations like Coinbase than the current American landscape. Because in the current American landscape, they don't know what they're doing. They are facing a lot of uncertainty. Whereas once you're at that enterprise stage, having certainty, even if it's negative certainty, is very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I have been saying this forever too. Like all the regulation that comes out, we're all going to hate it from like certain perspectives, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if we're like if we remain unrated in certain ways, or if there's a specific crypto regulation or CFTC or SEC in America. It doesn't matter what comes out, we're going to hate it. There's going to be a transition period. There's going to be a lot of work that has to be done to come into compliance, no matter what. But most people are like, again, if you can see the inevitable end of some version of regulation, okay, we know it's coming. So let's cut the shit. Let's get some regulation. Let's figure out how to, adjust to it, and let's move past it, and then iterate on the regulation as we get, more feedback. And Canada, although, we said F you to them when they said everything's a security, I tend to agree with Coinbase here. It's interesting because I don't think Coinbase is registered in Canada. So
I think they are. I can still use Coinbase.
Can you?
Yeah.
So they must have registered with CSA and IROC. But I mean, a lot of other institutions have pulled out of Canada. Many, like almost all of the smaller centralized exchanges that I used to use have got rid of my as a Canadian. I'm getting a crazy echo.
I don't know. Sorry.
Is your tweeter turned up too loud?
It's on the min.
That's super strange. Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway, no, it's all good. Anyways, so we'll have to see kind of what happens here. I think, again, the devil you know, even if you don't like it, in many ways could be better than the devil you don't, especially when it comes down to regulation and compliance and all of these things. So I personally agree with Coinbase here on this one. I think I don't necessarily love how everything's a blanket security, period, end of story. But they did make the process of coming into compliance relatively straightforward. And now the rules are clear. Everybody knows what the rules are in Canada. So if you want to participate in that market, you have to jump through very clear hoops. And I hope we see something similar for the rest of the world.
But at least those hoops aren't flaming and moving constantly. They're just stationary. We know what they are. Okay, the last one today is about stablecoins. So this is in the news, and I actually just want to say F you to the news because I think this is so obvious and not a news article. Stablecoin issuers are lobbying, and they spend money on lobbying. So Tether is paying FTI Government Affairs $120,000 per quarter to lobby on stablecoin legislation, and Circle is spending about $100,000 per quarter to Invariant for educating policymakers, which is the same thing as lobbying. And like, yeah, freaking obviously.
Well, and $100,000 a quarter is like nothing in the lobby world. That's like less than one person full time for that quarter, probably.
Yeah. So I don't know. The news about this is all like, look at this vast amount of spending. All this regulation must be critical to them. Oh my God, the expenditure is wild. Is this what they're going to spend our money on? And I'm like, yeah, that is how government and regulation work. Do you think other people aren't lobbying?
Well, yeah, I think. I mean, rightly so. The stablecoin space is probably under the most scrutiny because it competes in many ways directly with federally issued currencies, right? And so, I mean, it to me makes sense. We spend a good amount of money on policy and lobby. Maybe not quite that much, but we spend a lot through memberships and different things that we're a part of. And so, I mean, you have to be able to participate. You have to get in the ring and have your voice be heard a little bit. Stable coins, I mean, more so than anybody else, really, in a lot of ways, because they will most likely be the first to be assessed once some sort of regulation comes out, if not before then. So, yeah, this is kind of a whole lot of it's a whole lot of nothing. But anyways, it was kind of a
it's not slow. It's just like almost like fake news. People
nothing interesting. Yeah, nothing interesting.
To talk about. Okay, so today we said F you to regulators, which we do basically every day. But in specific, we said F you to the UK thinking crypto is gambling because that is against the ethos of blockchain finance. We said F you to America for not even being as forward thinking as Canada for once in our lives. And we said F you to bad news about government lobbying because you have to participate in government lobbying to participate in the space. We didn't really say F you to Twitter, but I guess we did say F you to Web5.
And Dorsey specifically.
You don't like Dorsey, hey?
I do. I think he's actually an interesting character, but he's just done some weird shit.
Yeah, I think that's why I like him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably that like raspy, gross beard that he had for a while that got you going.
Yeah. I live in Alberta, so that's the look.
Yeah, plaid and like stringy, gross beards. You're set. Okay, so everybody that's listening on Twitter, like and bookmark, please, on Twitter. Please bookmark the replay of this because it helps with the algorithm and our reach and so on. Every other platform, like, subscribe, share, do all that shit. Help us spread the love to others in the space that are trying to figure out how to avoid being overwhelmed by FOMO and FUD. And with that, I bid you all a wonderful weekend. Touch grass. Have an amazing weekend. Kiara?
You're back on Monday with Tashi, right?
Oh yeah, Christine from Tashi is back on Monday.
And that'll be a news roundup. So don't spend your weekend on the internet.
We got you.
Don't do it.
We got you covered.
JD, go FUD yourself.
I will. Don't worry. Later.